of explain each one and what we've been doing. And then we've got our gourmet set, which is this last one here. And this one just has some of the larger knives. It comes with your boning knife. It's got your hearty slicer, the santoku, the vegetable knife, and a cleaver. Now, Greg, which starter set? You guys notice as I turn back to the page showing the essentials. Say now, which one has the tools that you like the best?
The essentials feels about right for my needs right now.
Sure. You'd say you'd probably still go with the table knives?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for that essentials, that one's actually only $5.99, so it's actually still $180 less than the galley set was. And that one would only be $129 today. And then it would just be $129 over the next 4 months. And so that was about $4 a day. Now, is that something that you guys would like to try?
Absolutely.
Cool. Congrats, by the way, you're gonna love your cacao and then go from there. So, just realize, guys, when you're going through this process, like, they do like cacao. And so, a lot of time it's just more or less, I want to try and help them find something that they just feel comfortable fitting into the range. That's really kind of what you're going for. It's not like, and I was like, right, would that work a little better for you guys? And I was like, well, I don't know, maybe. Well, you want to try that one then? That's where I ask for the order. You have to ask. And that's what it says. Ask for the order. Would you like to try that one? Would you like to try that one today? That's where you ask for the order. If that's too much, you make a like list. And again, can we offer them anything free on a like list? Can we? Yeah, every fifth. So we can still throw in some free stuff. Oh, and I forgot. By the way, guys, I forgot to tell him he gets the free shears. Don't forget to do that. Okay. Yeah, just like, and by the way, if you do get that done today, I can still let you have those shears for free. So, that's something you guys would like to try.
So just the shears with?
Yep, just shears on starters. Yep, just shears on starter sets. Okay. And then you have to. So look at page 13. So this is what a like list looks like. When I'm going through this with my customer is well, actually I'll get to that here in a second. I'll show you guys what that looks like. But then you make a like list. And you ask for the order. That a lot of time is going to be a little too much. The first like list you make is going to be a little much. There are going to be some people who buy the first like list you make them though, even if it's more than like a starter or a galley set, like I told you guys about Matt Heinrich yesterday. And again, why does that happen? Why would they buy a like list that's more than what the starter set was?
Individual things they want.
Yeah, it's exactly what they like the most, and that's all they're getting is the stuff they like the most. And so some people will do that. Most of them won't, and so you're typically gonna drop down on that. But the last two steps always are gonna be their 3 favorite pieces. Okay. And we can't throw in one for free, but we can throw in a free tray to hold their knives in. You get a free tray. And they can do that on a like list too. We can throw in a free tray for them. And it just will hold any 5 pieces. And it kind of gives them a chance to kind of like customize their own set. So if they pick any 5 pieces, if they buy 3, they get a free tray. But you know, if I'm down to like 5 pieces, let's say they pick 10, I'll take off like half of the list and show them like what their 5 favorites are. You know, I can throw in one of the knives for free, and then I can still throw in a free tray for them, so they have a kind of a little custom set. Give them a really good deal on it. Okay, so you can do that, and then you also on 3 pieces, if it's over 50, you can split it up onto 2 payments. If it's over 100, you can split it up on 3 payments. And if it's over 300, you can do it on 5 payments. Now the last step always is just show them like what their favorite piece is. And again, even if it's over 50, let's say if it's like spatula spreader, $59. You can do it on 2-pay. If their favorite knife is a chef knife, it's $114. You can do it on 3 payments. It's only like $35 today and $35 over the next 2 months. So it's like you can find a range that will work for almost anybody at that point. The most important thing about this though, guys, you never want to skip a step. Because people are gonna surprise you. Okay? You're gonna do appointments with people that like really blow your minds, and you're like, really, that's what you're gonna buy? And you're gonna walk in thinking like, I might pull a trimmer out of this, and they buy the homemaker. And there's gonna be other ones where like you go in, they're like, they're getting the ultimate, and they buy a freaking trimmer. And people are gonna surprise you as you're going through this process. And just realize that, like for example, I had a couple in Coeur d'Alene that I was doing an appointment with, and on the basic homemaker, I showed it to him. The basic homemaker's payment was $185. And Gary, the husband, he was like, James, like right now where we're at financially, like there's no way we can afford that set right now. Like that's so far out of what we could afford. Like that'd be awesome, but there's just no way. And I was like, all right, well, hey, don't worry about it. I mean, these are just 2 of the bigger sets we have. Let me just show you 2 of our smaller sets. A lot of people like. And I went into the galley sets. Now, when I showed him the galleys, I was like, now which one do you like better? He's like, oh, definitely one of the table knives. Like they loved Cutco. Like his wife loved Cutco, and like it was obvious she really wanted them, but it was obvious they were not doing well financially. They didn't have a nice house. Like they were kind of scraping by, and I was like, I could feel that, and I showed it to him, and he's like, definitely the +6, and I was almost hoping he was going to say the basic gallery because he just told me that the basic homemaker, which is 864. Was way too much, and he just told me that he likes the Galley +6, which is $785. Okay, the difference in the payment was like $14. And I'm like, this is pointless for me to even show this to this guy. He just told me this is way too far out of our budget, and I was like, all right. So I like write it down, and I put it in front of him, and I showed it to him, and I was expecting him to just be like, yeah, no, I can't do that. And I was like, so is that something you guys think would fit a little better into your budget? And he sat there for a moment, and he looked over at his wife, and he's like, what do you think? And she was like, yeah, I mean, I like them a lot, but I don't know if we can afford it right now. And he was like, yeah. And he sat there for like 2 minutes. And finally he was like, we're going to do it. I was like, okay. And they bought that set. Now, had I gone off of what he had told me, which was, James, that like 185 is so far out of our price range, there's no way we can afford anything like that. Logically, it would have made 0 cents for me to show him the gallery. 0 cents. It's so close in price, it's like, alright, this is not even worth my time. And I would have totally missed that sale. And that appointment changed my whole perspective on this process. Okay? So let me just say this, your job is not to try and like decipher where you think your customer is at financially and try and decide what to show them based off of that. Because you're going to be wrong a lot. Because like I said yesterday, how many of you know somebody that they don't look like they have money, but they buy whatever they want? Right? So, because you don't know how much money people save, and you have no idea. But there's 3 types of reps that I work with. And I'll explain the 3 types of reps, and I'll explain why they get the results that they get. So the first representatives, these are people that will sell like homemakers, or they don't sell anything at all. Now, why do you think that happens?
They like the big.
Yeah, everyone likes the big. But it's not like they're selling homemakers on every demo.
Yeah.
They're maybe only selling once a week and a half or so, right? So why do you think that happens?
That's what they're looking for. Their mindset's stuck there.
No, it's not really the case. I train everyone the same. I tell everyone these same things.
If that's the first one you're showing them, they want to try to get a better deal. You're like, well, at 180 some bucks may be too much, you have something else. And so this one may be 189, and the next one may be 184. Now like, oh yeah, okay, I get that one, but not the big one.
So why do you think some people don't do that? Why do you think they only sell homemakers or nothing? What do you think could cause that?
They're afraid to go there.
They like maybe they push too much for like a homemaker, like a big buy, and that kind of just puts unnecessary pressure on the customer. I don't wanna buy anything.
Maybe, sure. Here's what it is. One, if people lose enthusiasm when they're dropping down, that's going to affect things a lot. Okay. You know, imagine the car salesperson showing like the best car, like, this is the best thing we got on the lot. It's got all the options. Check out the moonroof. Check out the heat control. Like, they're showing them everything. And then the customer's like, yeah, we can't afford that. And they're like, well, I mean, I guess I could show you the 5s. I mean, some people like these. I mean, they're not as good as the 7s, but I'll show them to you. You know, and that's their demeanor towards it. Like, no one wants to buy that. And so if you're losing enthusiasm, that's obviously going to affect things. Okay? And realize that 60-70% of your orders take place here. So your enthusiasm should actually probably be the highest at this point in time. Now, that's not typically why this happens, though. Here's why it happens. These are the people that are sitting down with the customer and they're like, you know what, Nancy, Rick, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't at least ask. Would you guys like to try out the set? Get the kitchen tools and the shears for free? And their customer's like, you know what? I really want this set. I definitely do. Kind of want to think about it first. I mean, let me just check my checking account. Call me on Monday morning. I'm pretty sure we can swing it, but I just want to make sure that I definitely want to get this set. Or it's like the rep's aunt and uncle, and they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, we absolutely want to get these. The only thing is, John doesn't get paid till Friday. So call us on Friday, and you can come right back over and we'll write this up. This is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to get these. And this is the rep that's like, yeah, absolutely, guys. That would be awesome. That would be incredible. And I'll still count for my fast start, so thank you. And they close their blue book, and they leave. And they actually expect that that sale is going to happen. Now, how often do you think that homemaker happens?
Not often.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't happen. You know, I've seen it 3 times in 9 years. Out of I don't know how many thousands of times. And that rep calls up and they're like, hey, guess what I sold? Well, and they're like, I sold a homemaker. Well, I mean, not really, but they're going to get it next Friday. No, they're not. How many times have you gone into a store and you saw something you wanted? I'm talking legitimately. You wanted it really bad. And you couldn't afford it right there and then you're like, man, when I get my next paycheck, I'm going to come back and buy that. And you never went back and bought it. How many times have you done that in your life? Now, was it that you didn't want it? No, I bet if you saw it today, you'd still want it. But in most cases, you just either, one, forgot about it, literally you just forgot about it, or you bought enough other little things that you didn't have enough money to go back and buy that one really cool thing you saw that one time. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about yesterday about price and value. Remember this, in order for a sale to take place, the value has to be higher than the price in the customer's mind. So, if this is where the price of Cutco stands in the customer's mind, the rep goes over to the house, they're doing the demo, they're putting the knives in their hands, they're cutting up a bunch of food, they're telling them about the forever guarantee, you know, we've been around 60 years, made in the US, sanitary, dishwasher safe, all of that. All those things build more value in their mind. The value is at the absolute highest point it's ever going to be ever in the customer's mind at this point in the demo. Now, anyone ever taken a psychology class? How much does somebody forget within 2 to 3 hours after they verbally hear something?
90%.
You probably forgot. Yeah, it's 90%. 80 to 90% of what people hear verbally, they forget within 2 to 3 hours. That's why you should write things down, by the way, because you will forget. But, so that means within a few hours after the demo, that's about how much your customers remember about what you told them in the demo. Let alone a week or 2. And I'll get the rep that's like, well, it's my next door neighbor. Like, I see them all the time. Like, they're a really close family friend of ours. Like, I know they're going to buy it. Not really, guys, because it's not like you can go over and badger them every 3 or 4 days. Like, hey, so what about that Cutco? Are you guys ready to do that? Yeah, you know, Cutco. You know, you can't do that to people. You don't want to be badgering them about the order every time you see them. It's just kind of out of sight, out of mind. But what's the one thing they always remember? They remember it was a set that was about $1,000.
Yeah.
Why? Because that was the only thing they saw. And think about this. Like, if your aunt and uncle's like, oh, James, we're totally going to get this. Just call us on Friday. What are you going to want to say to them? Like, honestly.
Then do it now.
Well, no, but yeah, you're going to want to be like, okay, sure. That's what you're going to want to say to, like, your sister, your mom. You're going to want to say that to anyone. But guys, I will take a galley today. I'll take a starter set today. I'd rather you sell a trimmer today over a promise for a homemaker tomorrow morning, any day of the week. I don't care how rich they are, and I don't care how much they love Cutco. Because think about it. If they get at least something today, I don't care if it's one knife, what do you think happens to the value? If they've got Cutco, they get Cutco, they're using it every day. Yeah, I'd say it actually is not going to stay. It's probably going to go up. It's probably going to go up because they're using it all the time. You know, Scott Mitchell, #1 rep in our office, sold over 150,000 last year. Over 50,000 of that came from people who had bought from him the year or two before. You know, he'd sometimes go out and sell them 8 table knives. And Scott goes out and sharpens his customers' knives every year or two for free, just offers to come out and do it for him. And a lot of time when he's out there, they're like, hey, by the way, you know, I noticed you guys had this, saw this in the catalog. Or he's like, hey, just for fun, I can show you what it'd be if you guys ever wanted to finish off your set. And they're like, yeah, you know, how much is that? 90% of his customers rebuy when he goes out and sees them. Because if they get something, they're going to fall in love with Cutco. If they get nothing, they're going to forget all about Cutco. And, you know, does it make sense that you want to help people find something that they can feel comfortable getting today? Does that make sense? Because if they get something, like, look at it this way, any sale is better than a no sale. And that promise order equals a no sale. Because it's literally less than 1% of the people actually come back and buy. And guys, it's not that they don't want to. It's not it. Just think about yourself.
Do you have any verbiage to handle that objection?
Yeah. Your manual.
Just fall back on it
Hey,
again?
no problem. And really, guys, these are just 2 of our bigger sets. You know, let me just show you 2 of our smaller sets a lot of people really like. Like, if you actually follow it, that's totally fine. And what your manual says. Your manual says...
Well, the guy that says I get paid next week, you just come back to it again?
That's the next thing I'm about to talk about. Write this in your notes. Preferred customer program. Preferred customer program. Preferred customer program.
A real quick question. Like, so when you have all your customers that you've recently done business with, like, would it be a good idea, like, obviously, to like log them down and then put the date of sales, like, if you ever want to like call them back, check in, or see if they want to like.
Yeah, you'll get. The company will have like a list of your customers that you can get at any time you want. It'll show when they bought, how much they bought.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Preferred customer program. We can offer free stuff to our customers on what visit?
First call.
The first. Unless they buy at least something from you. If they buy at least something from you today, on your first visit with them, it locks them in as what's called a preferred customer. What that does, it will always allow you to offer them the free stuff later. Okay? So whether it be on the set, whether it be on the like list. Okay? Even if it's just like one piece. You guys remember, you guys saw an order yesterday for like a cutting board. That was all I bought. I guarantee that customer was buying that to lock themselves in as being a preferred customer. And so a lot of time when you see little tiny orders like that, that's what they're doing. And it's for that person who's like, I really want to get this, but I'm just going to do this there. You can let them know, just like, hey, and that's totally fine too. And just so you know, I mean, like if you guys get it next Friday, I can't offer you the free stuff. But we do have what's called a preferred customer program. If you guys get at least something today, it locks you in as a preferred customer. And basically what that does is basically lets me give you the free stuff on this anytime down the road. So let me just show you some of the smaller options. You might see one that you like, and if you get at least something, it locks you in. Because if you're going to get this next Friday, you know, you might as well get the free stuff. And I'll just use that, use their objection as a way to get them comfortable getting something today, so they really do get it. Because right there in their mindset, I will buy this next Friday. I just know that 2 days later they're not going to feel that way. So I want to help them find something that they can feel comfortable getting today. We can always get something later.
So if you buy at least something today, you'll be locked into the preferred customer program, and you can get something free.
You can still get the free stuff, like
Still
because
get
you're
the free
showing them a
stuff.
set with like, hey, if you get that, I can get you the kitchen tools and the shears for free.
Okay, so it's not an ongoing thing. It's like if I went to my mother, did a demo, she bought like a trimmer.
Mhm.
She's locked in the preferred customer program.
Yeah.
And that just means that on the second visit,
Or any other visit.
any
after
other
that.
visit afterwards.
Yeah, you can always offer the free stuff, and you guys will learn some stuff in like advanced training on like how to hook up your like customers in the future and like give them really good deals and things like that. You're gonna learn that stuff in advanced training. Yeah.
That's great.
Cool. All right. So, all right. So that's the first type of rep. You know, the reps that sell like homemakers or nothing. I think you guys can see how that can happen. You know, how that's really possible. And you just, the most important thing is you want to make sure you go all the way through the stairs every time. Until you find something that works for you. Now the second type of rep, yes, so?
Have you ever ran into an instance where you like backtrack?
Yeah. People do that sometimes. Yeah.
Is that is it okay to do that, or is it just like, I know you want us to follow a flow of everything as far as the book goes, but
Here's the
say,
thing, let your customer backtrack you.
okay. So like if I
If
get to
they're
the
like-
like list,
And it's like they decided to buy the galley. We had a customer do this last week. I don't remember who it was, but they bought the galley, and then when like before they wrote it up, the wife was like, well, "Honey, you know what? If we're gonna do it, let's just get the whole thing." And he's like, "All right, yeah, sure."
okay, so just keep it to the customer if they want to.
Totally. Yeah, for sure. And at that point, yeah, absolutely, I'll go back up. But you know, I'm not gonna try and go back up if they told me that was too much already. Okay. Now, the second type of rep, these are reps that are selling pieces only. They're selling the stuff down here all the time. Now, this was me when I first started. Okay, I could not sell sets for the life of me. And I mean, I sold a homemaker my fast start. I think that might have been the only set I sold though. I don't think I sold any other sets. Like all my other orders were like 3 to 5 pieces or 1 piece. And I didn't get this process. And it wasn't that I wasn't going down the stairs. It was like I was leaping down the stairs. You know, I'd ask the customer if they want to get the homemaker, and they'd be like, you know what, James, I don't think we're going to buy a set today, but I really like that trimmer and that spatula spreader. How much is it for just those two? I'm like, oh yeah, you can totally do that. And I'm like, well, let me see. And I'd look them up. I'm like, well, for those two, it's like 110. Yeah, I'll do those two. Okay, cool, awesome. And I would write up an order. And I made sales. I made sales on a lot of my appointments, but my average order was like $100 instead of $250. And here's how I know I effed my fast start. Because my customers a lot of time would buy like 3 knives from me, and I'd be writing up the order and I'd be like, so did you guys want to split that up on the 3 payments? And they'd be like, well, how much is it? I'd be like, well, it's gonna be $192. Nah, just put it all on there, that's fine. Okay. And I guarantee, you know, they told me $230 was way too much.
Then they just handed you $200.
Yeah, but they would pay in full for $190 worth of stuff, or $230 worth of stuff. Literally the same amount. And you know, I guarantee if I would have shown them they could have gotten a galley for $168 or a starter set for like $95, half of what they were paying, I guarantee they would have bought it. I guarantee they would have bought it. But the problem was, guys, like I said yesterday, when I started, I confused my concept of money with what my customer's concept of money was. Like if I woke up when I was 19 years old and I had $2,000 in my checking account, I was rich. Like, that was all the money in the world to me at that point in my life. I could have probably lived for like 2-3 months. Okay, if I only have $2,000 in my checking account, I'm in like crisis mode. I'm like, I'm losing my house, I'm losing my car, like not okay.
What are we doing?
It's different. And like you being broke is like, I have $8. You know, a married couple saying they're broke is like, we only got like $7,000 in our account.
Ugh.
You know, and we've only got $18,000 in savings right now, so each.
Wow.
Okay? It's different. It's different.
So it's just really important just to not.
Yeah, don't think about where you're at. Because, like, to me, I'm like, yeah, no, I totally get it. I can't afford $230 either. That's way too much. And now sometimes I would go through the galley because I was like, I'm supposed to go through this, but I would just assume this was too much too. And like, so I mean, the galleys are cool. I mean, these ones are still $785 though. So I mean, it's $168 on the payments. I mean, do you guys think? I mean, do you think that'll work? Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. But anyways, and that was literally how I would go through it. And no wonder I didn't sell very many sets because like I prejudged them. That's ultimately what I was doing. I was like, yeah, if that's too much, this is probably too much too. That's prejudging. Okay, don't prejudge anybody ever. Okay.
I was just going to say, I think that I'm kind of coming at it, and this might help us, the new guys that are just starting. I've shared with my people, because a lot of them you know, you're practicing, right? I am just practicing, so if you just reiterate, I need to go through this whole thing. And you do the steps, like it says, they're going to hear the whole thing. You won't miss the middle. You won't shoot yourself in the foot, and you're just like, you know, I need to practice, and you're listening, and you're going to hear the whole thing.
Yeah, and know this. When a customer says, I want to buy, you know, can I get them individually? You know, can I buy just these two? Or is like, you know, how much is it for those two? Or like, you know, so can you get them individually? That's a very positive question to be asked. That is a buying question. That is them saying, I want this. I'm not buying a set, but can I get these? That's all they're saying. It's like, yeah, of course you can. And look at page 10, really quick, please. Look at page 10. Pay attention to this one. It says, can I buy just pieces? Same question. Just, I wish I had this when I was a new rep. It just says, hey, I mean, of course you can buy just pieces. You know, however, our sets are already discounted, and they're a lot safer. And they also do come with some free stuff. So, I mean, if you guys don't mind, I'll just show you some of the smaller, some of the set options, and if none of them appeal to you, you can get whatever you want. And use what Nicole just said. Hey, and that's totally fine. Like, you can totally get whatever you want. I would love to get some practice kind of going through and showing some of the sets anyways. And if none of them appeal to you, you can get whatever you want.
It's a beautiful program.
So, just use it.
Brings you right back to where you should be.
Right? So, just use that, and you'll be fine. Okay? And if you want to get the results that you want to get, you should do 3 things. Write these down. Number 1. These are like what parents tell their kids to do when they're going down the stairs. What do parents tell their kids?
Hold on to the rail.
Don't run, okay? Don't run. So literally, go slow. Go slow. That's why you write everything down. Literally, the main purpose, to give them something visual to see, because confused customers don't buy, and to slow you down. You know, it takes you an extra like 12 seconds when you're brand new to write this stuff down. And the whole time, what are they doing? They're thinking. Without having to feel pressure of you asking them the question if they want it, they're thinking about it the whole time. And that's just giving them time to process, like, when's our insurance payment coming out? When's the car payment? When's this? How much we got in there right now? That's like they're processing and digesting numbers. And that's just how people buy stuff. And so the slowing you down helps. So don't run. Don't rush through this process. Literally just go really slow. Take your time as you go through it. Now, also, you had said hold on the railing. You know, parents tell their kids to do that or hold the wall. What's your railing?
The book.
Yeah, this. Okay. This will tell you word for word what to say every time. If you follow it, it works really well. What else do parents say to their kids?
1 step at a time.
Yeah. Don't jump, right? Just one step. Just boom, 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 boom. If you go in that order every single time, you're going to get the results that you want. And the third type of rep, guys, those are the reps that sell a little bit of everything. And that's how you can always tell you're going through it the right way. If you're writing up orders for literally a little bit of everything, you're probably doing it properly. I'll show you an example. Kenny K, she had a really awesome fast start. Now, Kenny K, I'll just read you the totals of her orders. Okay, bear with me. She had a lot of orders. Okay, you can see how many customers she wrote up orders for on her fast start right here. Sorry. Okay, now I want to point out, her first appointment was with her #1 customer. Okay, they bought a signature set. It was $1,500. How do you think she was feeling after that
Cloud
appointment?
9.
Right?
Cloud
Okay.
9.
Next appointment, she sold a homemaker. $864. Okay? So again, she's feeling really awesome. Next appointment was for $96. Next appointment was for $94. Next appointment was $411, then $224, $314, $380, $480, $435, $182, 376, 52, 109, 230, 232, 737, 108, 1241, 988, 757, 661, 116, 43, 144, 50, 426, 59, 106, 51, 115, 90, 188, 252, 171, 338, 850, 197, 51, and the last three are around 350.
All over the board.
Right.
All
Yeah.
over.
So she sold 15,000. Her first paycheck was for $3,200, $3,195. That was her first paycheck.
She got the limo,
She had
right?
40 appointments.
Yeah.
She got the $1,000 travel voucher too. She had 40 appointments. She had 39 sales. She only had one no sale. Because she knew that everyone could probably afford at least something, as long as they got a chance to actually like see it. And you're gonna have orders here too. Okay? And so that's the big thing. By the way, she only had 7 days to sell in her fast start. 3 days where she couldn't work. Okay, she did 40 appointments in those 7 days though. She worked really hard. So you can check that out. So look at page 13 though. I want to show you guys how to make like lists properly. So
Can I come back to that like versus
Sure.
favorite pick? So like list, is that 1, 3, 15, any number?
that's what I'm about to show
Okay.
you.
And like list has a free thing. It's the cutting board.
That's what I'm about to show you.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go through all this right now. So I'm going to teach you guys how to really go through this. I'm going to teach you guys this process right now. Okay? So, alright, well, look at page 13. So let's say, Greg, you're still my customer. Greg just told me that starter sets were a little bit too much. So if you look at page 12, right above the payment box, you guys will notice it says, turn back to the homemaker pieces page in the blue book and make a like list. Okay? And so what I'm going to do right there is I'm going to turn back to here, and I'm going to show them just the homemaker pieces page. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start reading on page 13. And so Greg, what I like to do right now with my customers is just make what's called a like list. And it's not necessarily a list of things that you're going to buy today, it's just a list of the piece of cooker that you like. So if Cutco was free, what 10 items would you get for yourself, or even as like a gift for somebody one day? And this, just a little off side note, you've shown your customer, by the time we're at this point, before we ever went into the close, we actually show them all the accessories. So we've shown them all of these at this point. I know we'll go through that later, but just know that your customer's seen everything at this point in time. And so this can be out of anything that you've seen so far, Greg. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write it up here on the board so you guys can see how to properly construct a like list. I want you to write this down in your notes, just like I'm doing up here, in proper format. The main reason our office does so awesome is because we're really good at like lists. We're really good at like lists, and we sell a lot of them, and that's why we have, you know, a higher closing percentage, and people typically do pretty well because of like lists. And just remember this, confused customers don't buy. If they are confused about what you're showing them or what they're considering, they're probably not going to say yes. And so proper formatting just makes it really simple for them to understand. So Greg, back in character, you're my customer. So like if Cutco was free, Greg, what 10 items would you get for yourself, or even as like a gift for somebody one day?
What do we get? 6 table knives,
Okay.
spatula, tea chef.
Okay.
So 8.
Yeah. What else though?
Probably trimmer and a slicer.
Okay, cool. And then also, out of like the accessories that I was showing you before, I'm gonna flip to that back of that book there. You know, out of those that I showed you, what of those did you like too? And this could, like I said, could be out of anything. So, you notice, guys, I'm not gonna like limit him, okay? Because no customer, by the way, is gonna do what Greg did. And be like, 6 table knives. They're never gonna do that. They're gonna be like, table knives are kind of cool. And you're gonna be like, okay, great. Do you think you guys would use like 4, 6, 8, 12, 24? I'm going to make some suggestions. You know, I'm not going to be like, how many do you think you would use? Yeah, I don't know, 4.
It's the restaurant thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, it's like 6, 8, 12, 24. I don't know, 8 would probably be fine. Okay, cool. And then I put that down. But they're never going to do that, and they're not going to, like, okay, that's 10. They probably won't do that. Greg knows that we're shooting for 10, and so he's trying to get to 10 to make this simple. But, like, in reality, I'm going to be like, all right, cool, and what else? And then what else? And then I'm going to keep saying that until, like, I don't know, I think that's pretty much it. Okay, great. That's when I'm done. Okay? So, and then what else?
Like that ladle.
Sure. Yeah, and it could be out of any of that stuff I showed you, like the hunting and the fishing, the outdoor stuff, anything there too. So. Did you say a ladle, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And what else?
I really like that masher.
Alright. That's right, you said you were going into a catering business. It's a lot of work in a catering business though. Alright, what else? Anything else?
No, that's about it.
Okay, cool. Now, look at step 3, guys. So, Greg, I know I said this isn't necessarily a list of things that you have to buy. You definitely don't have to buy everything on the list today. I'm just going to show you what it costs to own the things that are on the list today, though. Okay, so that's a really important paragraph to put my customer at ease before I sit here and start figuring out prices for like 3 minutes. This is really designed to make this process feel really laid back and smooth and comfortable. So above step 3, I would write, read, or say before calculating prices. Say before calculating prices. I would write that on page 13, right above step 3. Say before calculating prices. So I'm going to say that to them, and then I'm going to start looking up all my prices. Now, you're going to get to the point where you have a lot of your prices memorized. When you're brand new, you're not going to know any of them. And so this part will take you the longest in the whole appointment when you're brand new, because you literally don't know any prices. You have to look them all up, and sometimes you're like, oh, where the heck is this thing? And so it will take you a little while as you're learning the price list and you're learning prices. But after like 10, 20 appointments, you start to memorize a lot of them, and it gets a lot faster. I don't know the potato masher because I don't get it a lot, but I find my potato masher on there and I'm like, alright, so that's what you want. I know 6 table knives is 198, spatula is 59, 114, 59, slicer is 95, and the ladle 41. Alright. Now, so look at those bullet pointed steps that I had you guys bracket off yesterday. What's the first thing we got to do to figure out this like list?
Number.
Okay, number them 1 through 10 from most expensive to least expensive. So what's my number 1 most expensive item?
Your set.
It is the petite chef. Why is it not the 6 table knives?
You can buy them individually.
Yeah, those are 6 individual items. So instead of writing like table knife, table knife, table knife, table knife, table knife, table knife, you can just put 6 table knives and take the price of one, which is $33, and you'll see that in your price list, and just multiply it by 6, and I put 198. So that will see you say. So these are actually probably my 6 least expensive items. The petite chef is my number 1. So to the left of the petite chef, I would put a number 1 right there. You notice I put the 1 here, not here. That can obviously be a little confusing to a customer. So what's my number 2? What's my number 3?
Spatula and the trimmer.
Okay, so the trimmer, spatula, it doesn't matter which one is which. What's my number 5?
The masher.
Okay, so by the way, this is my first free item, because we can offer them every 5th. So to the right of it, I write free. Really important that you actually write what's supposed to be free. It's an important label that you want to make sure that is on your like list. And you also notice my prices are all in a straight column. They're not like randomly like all over the place right at the end of each word, because that will be very, it's hard to follow. Especially as people get older, they become more visual. You need to make sure that this looks like it's easy to understand. So write them in a straight column. Alright, what's my number 6?
I missed that, James. I'm sorry. Spatula and trimmer are the same. How?
Yeah,
do you
so it
decide
doesn't matter
one?
which one is
Either
which
way.
number.
Okay.
So, and then we got, this is my number 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12
So one of those
are table knives. So one of those is free. So I don't want to write free next to it though, because the whole thing is not free. So I just take 198.
165.
Yep, and I minus 33, which is the price of one table knife, and that gives me 165. And then I'll usually, I don't have space, I'll put in parentheses, I'll just put 1 free. So that way my customer understands what's happening to that number. Then, what do I do? What's the next step?
Total it up,
Yeah, I add up the price of everything, even the free stuff. Why do you add up the price of even the free stuff?
so you can give them the price of what they got free, the total, right?
Yeah, you want them to know what kind of a deal they're getting. And then I write normally. Oh, sorry, man.
She's gonna be like 15 minutes late, so you've got a few minutes.
Everybody taking good notes?
Yeah.
I hope so.
That's gonna need calls and stuff out here.
Cool. Alright. So you notice I write the word normally. This is really important you write that, because I don't want them seeing this automatically and be like, oh, $600. You gotta let them know. Just normally what it'd be. What's the next step?
Subtract out their free.
Yeah, so in order to do that, I'd have to actually add the price of the free stuff together. So I'd add 51 plus the 33, so we're at 84. So I subtract $84 at that point. And that leaves me, I take 617,
533.
okay, minus 84 is 533. And then the last step is I gotta put the payment. Now page 14 is gonna be a little cheat sheet for you. So turn to page 14, let me fill in these blanks for you really fast. This is going to be a really quick chart that will help you calculate the payment without or with tax included. Because I don't want to just take 533 and divide by 5, because that's not going to include sales tax. I want them to know what it's going to be all said and done, so there's no hidden surprise at the end. So the first one you want to write down is $54. On page 14. Page 14.
Are we going column-wise or?
Right here.
I'm going to go on the left one down, then I'll do the right one down. Okay, so $54.
Practice here.
Yeah, so $54. The one below that is also $54.
Oh, it's not.
The one below that is $72. Then 89, 107, 76, 86, 97, 107, and 118. And then on the top of the next one it says 129, 139, 150, 160, 171, 182, 192, 203, 213, and 224. Anyone miss any of those? Okay. Notice, like for example, this one is 533, so what would be the payment on it?
118.
It'd be 118. So I put 118, and I have to write the word, and I would normally put it next to it, but today, this is also a really important label, is the word today. And that's what I circled, that's what I'm going to put emphasis on. So, once I have that, oh, and really quick before I show you this, notice at the bottom of the payment box it says all payments include shipping and taxes, and the payments are rounded. So for example, this one, if it's between $500 and $549, the payment's $118. It would, if they were spending $549, the top of the bracket, it would exactly be $118. That's not usually the case. So in this case, it'll actually probably be a little less. Now if their payment is only like $114 instead of $118, are they going to be okay with that?
So does that mean their last check or their last payment comes just a smidgen smaller if they're in that range?
No, it means that when we all said and done, when we wrap the order, their payment's probably going to be more like $114.
Oh, okay.
You guys understand?
Yeah.
So it's just, it's at
Oh,
least
this
giving
is a-
you like a little ballpark range within about $5 to $10 of what the payment's going to be that you can quickly just quote them. And it's not going to be like, you're not going to get someone that's like, oh, well, man, if that would have been, you know,
114.
114, I would have said yes. You know, it's not that. So it just at
It's
least
just
gives
to
you a
save you
closer
from writing a whole bunch of pinks.
Yeah, and have to figure out what
Yeah.
sales tax included into this and all of that. It just saves you a step. So just use your chart, it saves you a little time. Now, anyways, look at page 13 again, and look at step 4. Alright, so Greg is my customer here, and so I'd be like, alright, so Greg, normally if you were to get everything on this list, it would actually normally be $617. But here's what I can do for you. If you got everything on the list today, I can actually buy you that potato masher and one of the table knives, which is an $84 value. And for everything on the list today, it would only be $118, and then just be $118 over the next 4 months. How does that sound? Okay, would you like to go and do that then?
Alright.
Awesome. Yeah. We go from there. Now, what's he more than likely going to say?
Can I switch the masher for the hunting knife?
No.
No?
No, he's probably going to say, what's our average order?
250.
What's he probably going to say still? It's too much. Okay, our average order is 250. Okay, you're going to drop off this first like list most of the time. Just know that. Every once in a while, they'll get all of it, but there's still going to be a lot of people who are like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, James, that's still too much. That's actually more than, you know, that's almost that's only like $9 less than that Essentials was. So I still think that's a little much. And then I turn to page 14. And I say, hey, no worries, no problem at all, Greg. And actually, I mean, I can even show you what it is for just a few of the things on here. Like, what are the 3 or 4 pieces that you feel like would be the easiest to live without? You notice, I just followed it, but it's 3 to 4 pieces or 4 to 5. My rule of thumb is I always want to cut about half of the list off. Okay? So if he picked 15 items, I'll probably take off like 6 or 7 things. If he picked 10, I'll take off like 4 or 5. If he picked 6, sometimes they don't pick all 10. If they pick 6, I'll take off like 3. Okay? So I usually shoot to take off about half, because that's going to make a sizable difference of how much they're actually considering. So, you know, so in this case, what would be the 3 or 4 pieces you think would be the easiest to live without?
Ladle.
Mm-hmm.
Slicer. And probably the masher, right?
Sure. Okay. Well, and I don't know, I mean, usually if someone spends more, we can usually offer them a little better deal, but we can actually still do something on these ones. So automatically, just looking at it, guys, what would be the free item out of these? We know this is 6 table knives.
Kitchen knives.
Yeah, one of the table knives.
Yeah.
Right? So that would still be pretty much identical in this case. Be 1 free. And then I just repeat the process at this point in time. And I
Well,
just,
if he, real quick, if he's at 9 items, and if he, and like, because the 10th one's free anyway.
right? Yeah, so you could let them know.
Would we be like bad
Yeah, I mean, you could
salesmen
always-
if we said to get, I don't know.
No, I told them, like, hey, just so you know, I mean, if you actually, what I would probably do is I would throw in something else that I knew they liked for free. I'd be like, actually, you know, we have a special if you're at 10 items, so like, what's something else you guys like? And just like find out what they like, and then you can incorporate that in because it's going to give them a better deal, and they'll appreciate that.
Oh, right, because once they do another item, it's probably gonna
It'll be 10.
sway the,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay. So, and then again, I subtract what on this?
The free items.
33.
Yeah.
And that's going to bring it down to $397. What's my payment on that?
86.
Cool. So you know, Greg, if you wanted to do that for those ones, like normally it'd be $430, but I could still buy one of the table knives, which saves it $33, but it'd only be $86 today, and then it's just $86 over the next 4 months. But you can see it drops off almost $30, a little over $30 off each payment. Would that work a little bit better for you? Okay.
So you say buy versus free, or is that synonymous? Do you like that verbiage better? You say, I could buy
Yeah.
that for you.
Yeah, and when you write up orders, you'll understand. Yeah, because like, you know, we can't get paid on the free stuff, so I mean, it's coming out of what you're making, so in a
Oh.
sense, you are buying it.
That's true.
So,
Absolutely.
it's like, yeah, I mean, I'll
Never
throw that
thought
in for free for you. You know, it's like, I'll buy that for you. That is a real statement, you know, it's in a sense, you're just making less, but
It's
you
true.
look at it however you want to look
Yeah.
at it. So, but, and you go from there. Now, Greg is probably still going to say that's a little much, so what do I do?
Same process.
Yeah, and I was like, cool, well, and you know what, we actually have a little 3-piece special too. Like, you know, I guess out of those 4 items, I mean, which one do you think you'd use the least? What are your 3 favorites out of those 4 things if you're going to drop one?
3 that I would do would be the table knives, spatula, and petite chef.
Sure. Okay. Well, and what we could do, we could actually still, in that case, we could still throw in one of those table knives for free because you're getting over 5 pieces. So that'd be $371 normally, but that's only 76. But we could also throw in a free tray for you too. And that would actually, you can store your knives, you have your own little custom set. You can always add to it later on. You know, how's that sound? You know, get a feel for where they're at. And now sometimes it's just like, all right, that's cool. Now, what's the last step always? You know, we don't do 3 pieces.
Tell me
Favorite
your
piece.
favorite one.
Right. So we're gonna say, well, what's your favorite out of those 3?
Petite chef.
Cool. Well, and with the petite chef, that one, we can split it up on 3 payments. Unfortunately, I can't do anything free on there, but that's only going to be about $38 today. Now, roughly, guys, on the payments, like, I'll give you a little tip. When I get down to one item, I usually figure out exactly what their payment is. And so what I'll do, if you want to write this formula down, I take the price of the item, I multiply it by 1.06. And that gives me my total, and then I'll just divide that by the number of payments. Okay? So what that does is that'll add the tax, the 6% sales tax, to my price. And so I'll take like 114 and multiply by 1.06, and it gives me 120.84 divided by 3. Tells me my payment's actually $40. That allows me to give my customer a more accurate payment. You're like, well, if you want to get just that petite chef, great. It's only $40 today, and then it'll just be